We here to open our minds. Only fail if my soul don't climb. Where you go if your soul don't grow. All I know is I'm on the right road. We here to open our minds. Only fail if my soul don't climb. Where you go if your soul don't grow. All I know is I'm on the right road. We here to open our minds.
They got an AI rapper they came out with. And here it is. Yeah, so it looks like to me it's a concoction of all the newer age rappers that are all industry plants, you know. But wait a sec, it looks like one particular, right? I mean, they all dye their hair with braids. A lot of them, not all. But here's one in particular, it looks like, doesn't it? Definitely a coincidence. Elon's backing the AI. They kind of put their marks all over it. The AI rapper in the background is a Tesla. And you think this is by chance that Travis Scott is a part of all this? And what I'm trying to say is him being where he's at has nothing to do with talent in my eyes. It's purely being placed there, right down to his name, because that's not his real name. What's the odds that he kind of initiated with his concert? It basically seemed as a CERN portal technology. People were sacrificed there and their energy went who knows where. In the front of it is a portal, a beast with his mouth open. Let's look at the etymology on the name Travis, because like I said, it's why is that significant, because that's not his real name. If that was just his name, then I'd say, I'm reaching for something, but the etymology on Travis means basically traverse. Old French, it means to cross over, 12th century. To cross over. Plain to see that the demonic force works through him. Controlled by who? Good question. maybe the witches that he's attached to, having him initiate the metaverse and to make it acceptable by bringing it to the youth, making it cool. The other definition is name of a gatekeeper or a toll collector of a bridge. Some of this topic I know is old news. Why I'm showing it is, again, to show that everything is pre-planned out, down to the names that they give these artists. This could be nothing, but I noticed his right arm tattoo. It's a bomb dropping. Could be in reference to him blowing up, but also could be in reference to nuclear warfare. And on the top, the lady singing. Can't tell if she's fat or not. I think the older people they should obviously notice this stuff right away. And you don't even have to listen to it. Acting like they're independent, but really they're backed like a 6ix9ine type of guy. Because come on now, they say in the witchcraft and Satanism, the Lucifer is god of the rainbow, the colors, the 7 makes sense because 7 is Saturn again. Here's a short audio clip of, if you ever heard of him from back in the day, John Todd. Well, his last name was Collins. So if he truly was a Collins, then he was obviously a part of the Collins bloodline. And it kind of makes sense that he's legit in my perspective. Why? It's because they ended up taking him out. After he was talking, he eventually got caught up on a charge, I guess like a rape charge. Put him away. When he got out, eventually they put him in a mental institution and he died in there. So that tells me that it's a family member that tried to break free. I think part of what he was trying to get into and start doing before they got to him was he was exposing the fact, because in some of his talks he would say, which is we already know this anyway, if you study this kind of stuff, but most of these religions came from the Vatican, even the Mormon Church, and so on. But I think he was going to start, and he was trying to expose the fact that all these churches that people are going to, they're already infiltrated, and the money comes from the beast. And I don't even think he didn't get too far on that. Keep in mind, if it's the Collins are one of the 5 families that run the world. There are different names: Kelowna, Christopher Columbus, all hidden under this name, Kelowna. So in other words, the institutions, the medical, the prison systems, they're one of the hidden hands behind all that stuff. So they can snatch him up, put him in a mental institution, which of course the one that he ends up being in is Here's a little clip from him though, and what he had to say about witchcraft and the music.
The Illuminati doesn't produce rock music to entertain you. They don't produce rock music to make money. They don't need that money. They own everything anyway. They do it to put demonic influence in your life. Music is a spell. Every witch knows is a spell, and every witch knows it.
They were using CERN portal technology at that concert. Like I said, the doorway is a way for them to transfer consciousness or energy somewhere else. That's what the whole concept of that concert and his whole persona is about. Astro world. And yeah, maybe his uncle's name is Travis, is where they say he got the name from, but come on, Travis means traverse, and look what he's attached to and affiliated with. You know what else this makes me think of? So I make music, and I love oldies, and I got records, and I just came across this cover not too long ago. So I know exactly what they're showing here on this Stevie Wonder album cover. They're showing you the same thing. Look at that. You know, matter of fact, Stevie Wonder has a song called Saturn. I'm gonna throw the lyrics up here for you, and I'll be quiet so you can read through them for a minute. Seems like they're all signaling to some sort of land or space X that they're going to hide away and escape from here. They all know about it. How interesting. The blind man that catches a microphone stand in a live audience with all that noise and the music going also understands secrets of Saturn. And uses album covers referring to portals. And you know, he also has a song called Ribbons in the Sky. With the Neuralink brain chip kinda resembles. And that's the way of them uploading you into their new reality, alternate reality, metaverse. Whatever name you would like to call it. Maybe the real name they call it is SpaceX. Coincidence. Gotta be. It's gotta be coincidence. Moving right along to Michael Jackson real quick. He's got some very interesting album covers. A lot of secrets revealed all in the covers. But have you ever seen where they say this Egyptian statue it's a woman, looks nothing like Michael Jackson, happens to have the nose messed up just like what they did to him or what he did to himself. Is this another case of these immortal alchemists living on and on, different bodies? Could be. And now his album cover, or this song right here, Xscape. What is he escaping? He's going through the rings of Saturn. He escaping death. There's a guy that can afford to escape. He'd be one of them. It's also been said that the Michael Jackson we were seeing wasn't even the real Michael for years. That could be too. But check out the lyrics on this song, Xscape. For the sake of moving the video along, I'll keep it going quick with the music, things that are referring to CERN or portal technology or this whatever big event going down. That Power Man 5000 song, When Worlds Collide. It's literally talking about CERN portal opening up. They're definitely high level occult wizards themselves, man. Their album covers tell a lot. That's just one of them. There's several movies I've mentioned from the 60s, 70s, 80s, even before that, Saturn movies, and every one of them movies, Saturn is a computer. So I bring it up again, if our soul's electromagnetic, telling me these Ghostbuster sons of bitch aren't trying to figure out how to harness that. What the movies are there for. Let's talk about Elon for a sec. I've already put so many decodes and syncretisms involving Elon and the symbols and logos he uses. But, he has a couple different ex-wives. One of his ex-wives, I thought this is very interesting. Turns out she's an author, and they were married in this maybe 2005, 2008 era. So she's been writing books before then even. And look at what her books are about. And look at the names of them, first of all. Some of these book names, check it out. Lord of Bones. Blood Angel, Crystal Connection. Let's take a look at what Lord of Bones is about. Jess is a beautiful young artist whose prophetic dreams led her to Ramsey. I'll pause right there because I feel like Ram sticks out. Ram, Mars. Moving on, a teenage boy with an angel trapped inside him. Together, they stop a demon intent on bringing about the apocalypse. Now, knowing what Elon, with the AI technology and him in the interviews, talking about basically opening up a portal.
The artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
And now you got this, his ex-wife, writing books. Well, this was 2008. This scenario. Call that coincidence. So she knows a little something about what the real master plan is as well. This is crazy. One of the other ones, Crystal Connection, says it's a metaphysical book. There's a transformative and evocative movement taking place, the Crystal Connection. Crystals are mysterious, revered for their special energy and otherworldly vibration. Crystal magic has been harnessed for healing, meditation, and rituals. Crystal Connection is a sensory and emotive visual guidebook which demonstrates a profound love for crystals and is not only inspiring but will connect the reader even more with their own sacred home space. Wow. This is just how my mind works, knowing that it's very possible that they're trying to upload minds into a computer. Sacred and secret is the same word. Are they saying that there's something in the book, in the words? Once you read it, it syncs your mind with whatever they have waiting. This, I'm just shooting off at the hip, but this is basically, thoughts that are inspired by, like I said, knowing that they, first of all the videos they make about trapping us, they love it. The only thing is, well, we're physical here, can only do so much. But just like that Black Mirror's episode, the guy traps all the other workers inside of a game or inside of a computer simulation. If they can somehow extract and harness your soul, because it said that obviously your soul is energy, but the vibration of it is also a magnetic force. So then when I think of CERN being basically its own magnetic force, magnetic field, just makes me question what's the real purpose of these machines. Because again, I've said it in past videos, CERN has supposedly been crashing these particles together since like the 40s or 50s. Ever since Operation Paperclip, when they all came over here. And again, you think there's one Hadron Collider. There might be just one in the mother, the big one, but there's like 30,000 Hadron Colliders, and they're all over the place. So that just answers itself. It has nothing to do with the agenda they're giving us. 30,000 colliders to test particle crashes and atoms crashing together. Come on. Something way more sinister than that going on, especially when CERN is only half of the word. If you add the rest of it, it becomes a Celtic god. And of course, Shiva right in the front of CERN, goddess of destruction. They say it was a gift. I'm sure it was, just like the Statue of Liberty was a gift. So the goddess of destruction dancing in the ring. Couldn't be any more clear on what this thing really is.
CERN. The antiprotons from the antiproton decelerator, that's the machine that we need here at CERN, come down this pipe right here. And they come into our apparatus, which is inside this large magnet. This is a very strong magnetic field to help to confine the charged particles that make antihydrogen. We mix the antiprotons with positrons inside this magnet trap, and that's where we capture them. So we use the annihilation of the antimatter to see that it was trapped. The next step, and that's what we're reporting now, is to hold on to it. See how long can we keep it around so that we can study it. And by study, we mean interact with lasers or with microwave radiation to see what their structure is inside. How do they behave? Do they behave exactly like hydrogen?
This phenomenon of abrupt transition, where everything changes suddenly, can be observed in other fields of chemistry and physics. A few examples. A plate onto which sand has been poured is vibrated by a loudspeaker. In the middle of the disorder provoked by the vibration of the plate and the sand which is ejected, order and organization suddenly appear, but only at a certain frequency. Ice, water, vapor transformation according to temperature. Different states at different temperatures. Observed through a microscope, these organic crystals grow in a crystalline form from the liquid state when the temperature drops to a level close to 0 degrees Celsius. This magnet, which is holding a metal plate, will lose its magnetic properties as it heats up. Finally, this tablet made of superconducting material on which a small magnet has been placed will provoke a spectacular phenomenon. First, at normal temperature, nothing. Cooled down with liquid nitrogen, it will cause the magnet to levitate. In reality, the magnet's magnetic field creates an electric current inside the superconducting material, which generates on its surface another magnetic field, exactly opposite to that applied by the magnet. In this material, the absence of the Joule effect and the expulsion of the magnetic field caused by the magnet show that the material has a resistance equal to 0. Building magnets in superconducting materials is the solution adopted for the LHC, in order to render the project practicable from both a technical and economic point of view. However, first a superconducting material must be chosen, which is capable of resisting the various mechanical constraints of the system. Moreover, it must possess characteristics whose cryogenics can be mastered, so that it can be maintained at the right temperature. In fact, there are a great many superconducting materials, but their characteristics are linked to various parameters. In this first two-dimensional diagram, the temperature T and magnetic field B are two phases which can appear inside the material, a normal phase and a superconducting phase. The curve represents the frontier between the two possible phases. We can clearly see that as the temperature falls, an increasingly stronger magnetic field can be applied, while the material still remains superconducting. Beyond this critical temperature, or the value of the magnetic field applied to the material, it becomes normal again. That's to say, it loses its zero resistance characteristics. A second diagram derived from the first engenders a third parameter which must be taken into account. I, the strength of the current which needs to be passed through the cable. We can see that beyond a certain limit, the material reverts to its normal state, and the cable, which is no longer superconducting, will start to heat up. For example, YBaCuO, which is a ceramic composite, already becomes superconducting at -173 degrees Celsius, but is not suitable for the LHC application because it breaks and can't be used to construct a magnet. It's the material which was used in our levitation experiment. The material chosen for the LHC is niobium titanium, which is superconducting at the temperature of liquid helium. It has the indispensable mechanical resistance qualities required to resist the configurations designed by the LHC engineers. Moreover, to improve the performance of the magnet, it's been decided to use helium at -271 degrees Celsius. That is to say, very close to absolute zero. At this temperature, helium becomes superfluid and conducts heat perfectly. It no longer seems to be subject to the phenomenon of gravity. Infiltrates everywhere and can therefore completely immerse the superconducting cables and thus evacuate the heat perfectly. But how have these superconducting cables been assembled to form the LHC magnet? The genesis of an invention. In order to accelerate two waves of protons circulating in opposite directions in a machine which is both compact and necessitates a minimum electric power, the engineers have succeeded in designing a magnet capable of ensuring the simultaneous guidance of two bundles of protons moving in opposite directions. An explanation of the principle. Iron filings are deposited on a plate crossed by copper wire. The principle is well known. If an electric current passes through the conductor, it causes a uniform magnetic field in a perpendicular plane. Plane, plane, plane. Field B perpendicular to the current I. With two opposing currents, you obtain a stronger field, which is better oriented in the useful zone between them. By increasing -I and +I, you increase the force in field B. We can observe that the lines of the field are closer together. In correctly choosing the geometry of the conductors carrying the currents, -I and +I are able to create a uniform magnetic field in the useful zone. Nevertheless, the lines of the field close again, far from the useful zone. Thus, a parasitic field has been created. Outside the useful zone. The action of the magnetic field on currents -I and +I translates into electromagnetic forces -F and +F, which tend to open the magnet. 400 tons per meter. To contain the action of these forces, the conductors which carry the currents are fastened in collars made of non-magnetic material. By surrounding all the conducting collars in a yoke made from a magnetic material, iron for example, the lines of the field are confined, and thus parasitic magnetic fields are avoided, without affecting the field in the useful zone inside the tube, shown in white, in which there's a perfect vacuum. To bend the two bundles of protons circulating in opposite directions, we need two equal and opposite magnetic fields in the two neighboring useful zones. We therefore combine two sets of conductors in tightening collars and a common yoke. Thus, combined, the system can function. Finally, the assembly, composed of conductors, collars, and yokes, is inserted into the cylinder, which ensures the mechanical rigidity of the system, and plays the role of a tight container for the liquid helium in which the entire structure is immersed. This original idea of using a single magnet for two separate waves of protons has led to the compact size of the machine and greater facilities for the circulation of the helium, and therefore for the cooling of the superconducting cables.
Welcome to CERN, the European Laboratory for Particle Physics. Today, almost 17,000 researchers and engineers come to CERN to investigate the universe, how it works, what it is made of, using some of the largest and most complex pieces of equipment in the world. In the Large Hadron Collider, we smash particles together at just below the speed of light. By doing this, the physics community has produced some fundamental discoveries. In 2012, we identified the Higgs boson, which is the manifestation of a field that gives mass to all other fundamental particles in the universe. This type of research results in huge IT and computing challenges. Things happen very fast. In the Large Hadron Collider, particles collide at approximately 1 billion times per second. Our data analysis needs are so great that we need to distribute the LHC data around the world.
What do these look like to you?
Oh, it's an X. Touching other little X's.
Ley lines.
Ley lines. What's ley lines?
It's a hidden network of energy lines that run across the Earth. It's a current of supernatural energy.
Supposedly, if you look at sacred sites and weird events all over the world and connect them with lines where they intersect, it's an unusually powerful spot. How do I dismiss this theory? Because it just seems too random to have any merit. Dismiss this.
Okay, that looks like it's got some merit.
He's using the devices to charge the ley lines. He's creating a vortex. He's using the devices to charge the ley lines. He's creating a vortex.
Okay, if he gets one of his machines in there and it's big enough, he's gonna be able to rip all right through that barrier.
Letting whatever's on this plane come crashing down on this plane.
Crashing down. This plane. Crashing down. This plane.
Letting whatever's on this plane come crashing down on this plane.
Agent Hawkins of York. The Mikado has one of the weirdest histories of the buildings in New York.
Okay, so it's your standard issue haunted building.
No, this is even before it was a building. All sorts of massacres happened at this one. Like the peaceful trade between the Lenape Indians and Captain Warner. Then all of a sudden everybody dies. Oh my God, you guys. This is the dude that was at the subway that was... I've seen things that no one else does. And thought. I heard nothing but scorn and mockery. Luckily, I am not the only one here. Behind these are millions of souls. Souls that have been cast aside. Souls who see the world as it truly is. As garbage. Garbage that needs to be cleaned up. When these barriers are destroyed, an army of the undead will return to pester the living.
Pester the living doesn't sound so bad.
They will return to pester the living with unspeakable pain and torment.
That's a different definition of pester than what I was thinking. I think the word we're looking for is apocalypse. Apocalypse.
Let's get these barriers destroyed, shall we?
Wait.
what's about to happen. Our world is a progression of one life being replaced by another, over and over. This is what's really meant by evolution. And this series of replacements isn't about this is black and this white, this is male and this female, this is rich and this poor, this is chaos and this...
Control.
Now that you understand that, what you really need to know is this. Life on this earth, all human life, most animal life, is about to be crushed, burned to the ground. The computer simulator down the hall is necessary for our evolution as a species. When we leave this planet, this life will have evolved into that. Of the hundreds of extraordinary minds uploaded into that world, the only one that figured out it was living in a computer simulation had 7 billion choices to contact in this world. And the one person Langley reached out to was you. But now that you are once again in front of me and aware of the simulation, I believe you won't want to destroy it. Not when you understand the good it's doing. Its reason for being is to advance life, not end it.
If I were to change my course of action and terminate my father, would I be able to upload to the simulation? And could Agent Scully be with me?
It won't be her. And it won't be you. We can upload a mind now through any smartphone. No one's even aware we're doing it. We can take a piece of your mind anytime you make a call.
You can take a piece of your mind anytime you make a call.
Painless. 2 hours.
Painless, except we have to die.
One of our best incentives here is that you and loved ones don't ever die.
So if you upload me through my phone, I don't really have a choice.
Sure you do. You could not use your phone.
I'm exposing these demons.